Today we learned this iterative method for solution of system of equations. These methods are used to solve systems in which the coefficient of the leading diagonals are large as compared to others. So if we have a system of equation like this, a1x b1y plus c1z equals to d1, and this a2x b2y c2z plus d2. So if we have this system of equations and we want to solve them using our iterative methods, that is, we try to find x, y, z such that uh, we will get their approximate values of x and y and z such that a1 into approximated value of x plus b1 into approximated value of y plus c1 into approximated value of z. If we add them, they are approximately equal to d1. And this Jacobi method will converge towards the root if we perform infinitely many operations. If this diagonal element like this a1 and this b2 and this b3 are large as compared to others, and we will say such system of equation is diagonally dominant. So if we know that this, what we mean by diagonally dominant by this, like absolute value of a1 is greater than absolute value of b1 plus absolute values of c1. Absolute value of b2 is greater than absolute value of a2 plus absolute value of c2. Similarly, absolute value of c3 is greater than absolute value of a3 plus absolute value of b3. Then we say that this system is diagonally dominant. So if a1, b2, c3 are large, so what we do, we divide the equation 1 by a1 and rewrite this first equation like this. By dividing a1, we have only x in the left side and other coefficients are renamed like k1, like k1 is d1 upon a1, then l1 is b1 upon a1, and this m1 is c1 upon a1. Now in equation this 2, we will divide this equation by b2 and keep y in the left side and other to the right side, and again rename the coefficient like k2 is d2 by b2, l2 is a2 by b2, like this. Similarly, we divide the equation 3, this equation, by c3 and then keep z in the left side and take other terms to the right and then rename the coefficients. So we have equation 2 after this procedure. So in this method, we are going to start from an approximation to the true solution and obtain better and better approximation from the computational cycle, repeated as often as many necessary number of iteration required to achieve desired accuracy. So we have here this. So like this will become our iterative method. If you remember, na, like this Newton method, or you, if instead of this you remind method. In fixed point method, if you remember, we have a polynomial like x square plus x plus 1 equals to 0. Then you can write x equals to minus 1 minus x cube. If you have a like polynomial like x square plus x plus 1 equals to 0, then you can rewrite it like x equals to minus 1 minus x square. and then minus 1 minus x square, you say it is your iterative function phi x, and in the left x you write xk plus 1, and in the right of phi of xk, instead of x you write xk. So here this becomes the iterative procedure. We substitute the values from the previous step to the right side of equation 2 and get the updated value in the left side of equation 2. So here in the left side I write xk by xk plus 1, y by yk plus 1, z by zk plus 1, and in the right side I write y as yk, z as zk, x as xk, z as zk, and similarly x as xk and y as yk. And then for k equal to 0, I substitute x naught, y naught, z naught in the right side of equation 2. If I substitute x naught, y naught, z naught in the right side of equation 2, I will get the updated values of x1, y1 and z1 in the left hand side from equation 2. So this is like a iterative procedure. So initially, in general, we assume the initial approximation as 0, 0. Like x naught, y naught, z naught, we take all three values are 0. So if we take all these three values 0 in this equation, because the iterative procedure is like x, y naught, z naught, x naught, z naught, x naught, y naught. So if I substitute x, y, z 0, then I will get x1 is equals to k1, y1 is equals to k2, and z1 equals to k3. So these are the first iteration, like where initial values we have substituted x0, y0, z0 as 0 in equation 2 on the right side, and we will get from the left hand side updated values x1 equals to k1, y1 equals to k2, and z1 equals to k3. Now these updated value we substitute again in the right side of equation 2. You can see like y is replaced by y1, z is replaced by z1, x1, z1, x1, z1, and all these three values of k1, k2, k3 of x1, y1, z1 we substitute here. So if we substitute all these values here, we will get the updated values of x2, y2, z2, and then these updated value again used to modify the next approximated values of x3. Like if you want to know what is x3, y3, z3, so you replace here y2, z2, x2, z2, x1, x2, z2, and substitute the value, you get the next updated values of x2, y2, z2. So this process is continued till the difference between the two consecutive approximation is negligible, or whatever your desired accuracy. Like if x3 minus x2 absolute value is less than 10 raised to power minus 2 is my desired accuracy, then I stop. Otherwise, I will continue. So here we have this Jacobi iteration method, and we have the system of equations, and we have to solve the system of equation by using Jacobi iterative method. One thing you have to notice in exam, I specifically mentioned this system of equation you have to solve by this particular method. So it doesn't mean that I told you to solve with Jacobi iteration and you solve with the Gauss and this Gauss-Jordan or factorization, I will give 0, because whatever method is written in the question paper, you have to solve by using the same method. Okay, this is the system of equation we have with us, and you can see this system of equation is diagonally dominant because the a1 coefficient of x in the first equation is 10, and its absolute value is greater than the absolute value of y plus absolute value of z. Coefficient, like coefficient of y is 1 and coefficient of z is minus 1. If we take their absolute value like 1 plus 1, so 10 is greater than 1 plus 1. So this is diagonally dominant at x. Similarly, this is diagonally dominant at y, and this is diagonally dominant at z. So now we have to perform Jacobi iteration such that our accuracy is to 2 decimal places. So the first job is like whoever variable is dominating, like here x is dominating, we divide this equation by 10. So we have taken everything to the right side of it and then divided by 10. Similarly, in the second equation, we keep 10y on the left side and take other part to the right, and we have 1 by 10 this. And similarly in z, in the third from the third equation we will get z like this. So this is my we can say our iterative procedure for Jacobi iterative method to solve this particular system of equation. So initially we assume our x naught, y naught, z naught as 0. So here on the right side of it I will substitute x naught, y naught, z naught as 0, and I will get this 11.19 upon 10 like as x1 updated value of x. Initially I am taking x, y, z as 0, but now I am getting updated value of x as 1.119. Similarly, if I substitute x and y, x naught and z naught 0 to this part, I will get y like this, and similarly z like this. Now I am having the updated value of x1, y1, z1. Now these updated value of x1, y1, z1, I will substitute in the right side of this equation and get the new updated value like x2, y2, z2. So the x2 is, you can see, this is x2. x2 is 1 by 10, 11.99 minus y plus z. But if I I want to know what is the second approximation, so in the left I write x2, and in the in the left I write x2, and in the right I will write y1 z1. So I will have this one is the iterative updated value. I will get the updated value of x2. So what is y1? Y1 I obtained from the previous step, and what is z1? This is z1. After substitution I will get 1.19. Now to get y2 in this equation, in the left I write y2, and in the right I write x1 and z1. I will get my updated iteration for y2, and x1 z1 I will substitute from this previous step from the first iteration, and I will get updated value of y2. Similarly in z2 also, z2 like this, in the left z2 and in the right x1 y1 I will get this, and then x1 y1 I will substitute from here from the previous step I will get this one. So this is the new updated value of x2, y2, z2. Now in the third iteration again, this is the third iteration because I want to know the next updated value of x3. So x3, you can see here y1 z1 and here x2, but I want to know what is x3. So these y1 z1 are replaced by y2 z2, and this is the third iteration for x3, and the value of y2 z2 you will write from the previous step, these 1.19 and 3.39. If you substitute there you will get x3 as 1.22. Similarly to get y3, you substitute the value of x2 and z2 from the previous step, you will get the next updated value of y3 and z3. This is wrongly written here, it is again z3. Okay, so you correct this one. Now in the fourth iteration again we do the same thing. X4 in the right y2 and z2 are replaced by y3 z3. Similarly in y4, x2 and z2 is replaced by x3 z3, and in z4 x2 and y2 are replaced by x3 y3, and these x3 y3 z3 we used from the previous step and substitute here, and we'll get the updated value of x2, x4, y4, z4. So like this you will get, but you can see that from fifth and fourth iteration we are getting nearly the same values of x3, x4, x5, is y4, y5, and z4, z5. So we will stop here, and we shall say that this is our approximate solution. So if you substitute like x equals to 1.23, y equal to 2.34, and z equal to 3.45 in the given equation, any one of the given equation, like in this or in this, so maybe you will get 11.19, or maybe you will get 11.18000001 something. So that one is nearly equal to this, not exactly equal to this. So this has a method called the Jacobi iteration method. Now this is assignment question. You solve this question. I will type this also and post in the group also. Now we have another method is known as Gauss-Seidel iteration method. So in this method is same as our Seidel method. This method is same as our Jacobi method, but the difference is that you can see here the difference in the Jacobi and Seidel is that when we are calculating the value of x5, we are using the previous values of z4 and y4. But once we have x5 in this step, and now we are trying to calculate y5. So to get y5 in Jacobi method, we are using x4 and z4. But in Seidel method, we are not using this x4. Here we use the immediately update value of x5. So immediately update value of x is x5. So instead of x4, we have x5. So this x is same, but in y, this z, because z we have only in the previous step, so z4 is there, but x we have in the current step, so we'll update x immediately by x5. So now we have this when we are calculating z5. Similarly, because we have x in the current step and y in the updated value of x and y in the current step, so these two values are modified by x5 and y5. And this is the basic difference between the Jacobi method and the Gauss-Seidel method. So this is the modification of the Jacobi method. We start with the initial approximation again, x naught, y naught, z naught, 0, or x, y, z. And substituting the value of yx naught and z naught in the first step, we will get x1. So the x1 we will get immediately, but to get the y1, so you can see to get the y1, earlier we are using x naught here, because if we are using x naught in the Jacobi method, we will get y2, y1 as k2. If you remember the previous method, we are getting y1 as k2 because we are substituting in the right x naught, y naught, z naught as 0. But in Gauss-Seidel method, we use immediately updated value of x, and immediately updated value of x is k1. So here we substitute k1, and this is 0. So we'll get the updated value of y1 as k1 minus L2. This y1 is equals to k2 minus L2 into k1, because z is 0 here. Now we have y1 updated value in the first iteration and x1 also. So to get z1, I will write like this. So earlier you remember when we are calculating z1, here we have x naught, y naught, but in Gauss-Seidel method, we have immediately updated values of x and y. Okay, so this is our actually I think some slide are not here because it's end here. So this is like the difference, like in exam, like when I told you to find the solution with Gauss-Seidel iteration method, but some of you, because you are not like able to understand the difference between the, some of you not able to understand the difference between the Jacobi and Seidel method, so they will apply the same method, Jacobi, and they write like x4 here, but in Seidel we require x5. Similarly, in Seidel we require here x5 and y5. So due to this difference, they will get 0 instead of they apply Jacobi when I told them to apply Gauss-Seidel iteration method. Wait a minute, I will find the remaining part of this slide. I think this is again visible to you. We are discussing this Jacobi iteration method. And in this Jacobi iteration method, if you remember, I already told you this. The main diagonal elements are dominant. It means the absolute values of 26 in equation 1 is greater than or equal to the absolute values of this 2 and plus this 2. So here this is true. And then we have, this is the way we have our, is this PDF is visible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you can see in the left hand side we are writing x1 k plus 1 here. In handwritten notes we have three variable x, y, z. Instead of x, y, z, we have variable x1, x2 and x3, and the upper index are the iterative index like this k. So like x naught, y naught, you can say this k, and xk plus 1 is like updated values. Here this is small x1, x2 and x3 are the variable, and index is in the upper side will give the updated value. So initially we have taken all three zero. We getting this x1 up first updated value like this, and x2 first updated value and x3 first updated value. Similarly in second iteration we have this one, x1 second updated value using the x2 and x3 first updated values, and in x1 third updated value using the x2 second and x3 second updated value. So this is our like Gauss-Jacobi method. Now we will see our Gauss-Seidel iterative method. So the Gauss-Seidel iterative method is same, even though their iterative steps is also almost same, but there is a difference. You can see when we are getting k plus 1th updated value of x1, we are using x2 value at the kth iteration and x3 value at kth iteration. But when we are trying to get the x2 value at k plus 1th iteration, we are using the immediately updated value of x1. So this is the difference. If it is Jacobi, here we have x1 k, but it is Gauss-Seidel, so we have x1 k plus 1. So this is the difference between the Gauss-Seidel and Gauss-Jacobi. Similarly, to get the next updated value of x3, we are using immediately updated value of x1 and immediately updated values of x2. So this highlighted yellow color iterative steps are the difference between the Gauss-Jacobi method and this Gauss-Seidel method. You can see here. So in Gauss-Jacobi, we have k here also k, x1 k, x2 k, but in Gauss-Seidel we have k plus 1, immediately updated value we will use. And the condition of convergence is same again here. The system should be diagonally dominant. Then only this iterative procedure, this whole three equation will give you they will converge towards the roots of the equation. So we'll see one question related to this. So here you can see this is the system of equation, and absolute of 45 is greater than the absolute of 2 is 2 and absolute of 3 is 3. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So 45 is greater than 2 plus 3. Similarly, 22 is greater than 3 plus 2 and 20 is greater than 5 plus 1. So this system of equation is diagonally dominant. So if we solve this system of equation using Gauss-Seidel method, the Gauss-Seidel iterative procedure will converge towards the root if we will perform the infinitely many equations. So here we have taken all these other variable from the first equation, like 2x2 and 3x2 to the right of it, and we will have this one. Similarly, for the second variable x2, because x2 is dominant in the second equation, so we keep a 22x2 in the left side and take other to the right side of it, we will get this one. And similarly this one. But this is the updated step. This you have to be taken care when we are solving using Gauss-Jacobi or Gauss-Seidel, when we are solving with the Gauss-Seidel. So this is the iterative step for Gauss-Seidel for this particular example. And now we start with x0, y0, x2, x1, y, x2, because x1, x2 are variable, and the upper index in the bracket is the iterative number or iterative approximation, like first approximation and second approximation. So initial approximation x1 bracket 0, for x2 bracket 0 and x3 bracket 0, we are taking 0 and substituting in this, we are getting this one 58 upon 45 like this. So this one, but in x2 first updated value, this first iteration value, we are using immediately x1 first updated value and x3, because x3 we are not having in the till now in the first iteration, so we will using previous value here, and we are getting this one. Now to get x3 first updated value, because now we have x1 first updated value and x2 first updated value in the first iteration itself, so we are using this value here and using this value here, and we are getting the updated value of x3 and x2. And now similarly to get the second iteration updated value of x1, so the first step is same as with the Jacobi first step. like x12 is equals to 1 upon 45, 58 minus 2x2 first updated value, 3x3 first updated value, and the first updated values are these two. We substitute here, we will get this one. But to get x2 second updated value, we use here x1 second updated value, that is this value should be used here, like you can see this one, and then x3 first updated value, and you are getting x2 second updated value. Similarly, in to get the x3 second updated value, this is like x1 second updated value, and it is x2 second updated value. But if this one is Gauss-Jacobi, here we have x1 first updated value and x2 first updated value. So this is the difference between the Jacobi method and Gauss-Seidel method. So we have substituted these values here. From here we have substituted x21, this one, and this one is substituted here, and we are getting this updated value. So similarly, we perform the third iteration and the fourth iteration, and we find that the difference between the two consecutive approximated values of x1 is this one, and this one, and this. Since all the errors in magnitude are less than this, and so the required solution is this one. So we will stop here because this is the stopping criteria in this particular example. Like if this difference between the two consecutive values of all variable is less than this value, then we will stop and we'll assume that this is our approximated solution. But you can see that this is our like exact solution. x1 equal to 1 and x2 equals to 2 and x3 equals to 3. So if you use this instead of this, your right hand side have little bit difference, like they are not equal to 58 if you use these three values. So it means we are getting the better approximated values. Then I think I have to stop here. One more thing I have to tell you. So here this is the remark you can see, and the sufficient condition for the convergence of Jacobi method is that the system of equation is diagonally dominant. That is the coefficient of the matrix A. That is when we write now A is the coefficient matrix, capital X is the variable matrix, and equals to B on the right side for right side matrix. The coefficient of this matrix A should be diagonally dominant. At what we mean by diagonally dominant, I is greater than equal to J not equal to 1, and J equal to 1 to N, and I not equal to J. Like for A11 is greater than or equal to A12 plus A13 if we are having only three equations. If we have more than 3 or n equation, then we write the condition like in this form. So sometimes in Viva I will ask what is the diagonally dominant, the first condition. Second, I will ask, tell me the condition when this Jacobi method or Gauss-Seidel method converts. What kind of systems? For what kind of systems this Jacobi method or Gauss-Seidel method will converge? So then you have to tell me that if the system is diagonally dominant, then this method, Jacobi method and the Gauss-Seidel method will converge. And then I ask what is diagonally dominant, then you have to tell me this condition. Okay, and I think I have to stop here. So if you have anything to ask, you can ask. And again, attendance I am giving to all of you. So if there is nothing to ask, then I am leaving. You may also leave.